Okay, here we go. 2 is F. Ooh. How do you say this?
F inverse.
What is it not? Yeah, it's not F to the negative 1 power. It's F inverse, right? Number 4, it's a reflection across the y equals x line. Number 14, you were supposed to plug the inverse into the original or the original into the inverse and see if they were each other's undoing. And were they? Yes.
Correct.
Number 20, you were supposed to flippity flip flip. Not off. The graph, there we go. Number 26.
Yeah.
This was super weird because it's the exact same thing. But wait, doesn't 1 over just mean flip or reciprocal?
Yes.
So if you do 1 over that guy and flip them, it's x. And if you do 1 over that guy, you flip them and it's x. Oh, I guess it actually works. 1 over x is the reciprocal of itself. And why did they have you graph it? Because if you draw the y equals x line, isn't it its own reflection?
Yes.
Whoa. Number 42, fails the horizontal line test, so it is not that special adjective of inverse because a horizontal line would hit more than once.
It's not.
This is a function.
Ow.
Okay. Yeah, it's no, but it's no because it fails the horizontal line test. 52, what were you supposed to do? Oh, switch the x and y and solve for y. And look, it was its own inverse again. And if you were to graph y equals x, it's its own reflection again.
It's
Okay.
not quirky, guys.
But wait, did you guys see a pattern? Okay. Shh. Let's keep the judgment at least down to a couple levels lower. Do you guys notice a pattern between this guy and the other guy? Aren't they both reciprocal functions? Interesting. Number 64, switch x and y, solve for y. Now, did you realize it was a plus or minus square root? Now, can we just take a quick second? Wherever you are in this section, whether you're like, I'm acing it, it's great, I'm totally lost, or anywhere in between, can I just show you a math thing real quick? Because this problem, you were switching x and y. Right now, you were just solving for y. That's like old school algebra, right? Solve for y. No matter where you are in the section, the objective from here on out was to solve for y. How do we get y by itself? Okay. There's work that's missing, and we've talked about that. CalcChat likes to go from one step to another step without showing the y. I don't want you guys to go another day just being like, oh, there's a plus and minus this time? Fine. Because then you don't know when to put it. You're like, oh, there is one? All right, cool. Like, if you're not asking the question why, something's not right. So hold on. Can I go over here and say, okay, what if we did square root both sides? Right? That's not written. They didn't show that. What if we square root both sides? On one side, we get root x. Do you guys know what the right side turns into? Close.
Absolute value.
The absolute value of y minus 5. Just think about the math. Not even the inverse thing. Why does it have to have an absolute value? Whatever this is, positive or negative. If I just wrote that, it could be positive or it could be negative. But the squared says, I don't care who you are, now you're positive. And the square root says, I'll take away the squared, but the positive is still there. Technically, because of the square root of a squared, an absolute value is what comes out. Now, that's not what you guys see. You guys usually just jump down here and say, oh, there was supposed to be plus or minus. Oh, I forgot. You didn't forget. You just didn't know what was going on. Whenever you square root a squared, back in Algebra 1, you should have learned when you square root a squared, it's absolute value of x. Usually you just crossed out and said x, right? Square root of squared is actually an absolute value of x, which sometimes either is at a level higher than the math being taught, so it's kind of taught earlier, hey, you can cross out, yay! And you're not really shown the behind the scenes because maybe the teacher didn't think it was quite the right time. But that does you a disservice when you get to things like this, because you're like, whatever, square root both sides, and you miss half the answer. So why does this make a big difference? Well, guys, how do we solve an absolute value equation? Do you remember? Plus or minus. Absolute value equations. If we were to have something like the absolute value of x is equal to 4, couldn't x equal either 4 or negative 4? Put in 4. Yep. Put in negative 4. Yep. It could be either one. Whenever you have an absolute value, technically it's a positive or a negative when you're solving like equations with absolute value back from algebra 1 or algebra 2. So I can say 1 minus 5 as long as I put a plus or minus. So is it that square root of x should just magically become plus or minus? No. It was that a square root of a squared is an absolute value which can be removed if we put a plus or minus. Does the math kind of make sense? And then we add the 5 and then we're done. Yeah, what's up, Bianca?
For this question, I didn't do all of that. I just saw that it was x minus 5 squared.
So what did you think?
I thought it would be a quadratic, so I just put no.
Because all quadratics fail the whole invertible thing because they fail the...
Or something like that.
Got it. So if you put that as your explanation, that's okay. But I like... Because if you had just done a square root, you wouldn't realize that it failed. And the reason that it fails is because you need two functions, 5 plus root x and 5 minus root x. You need two functions to be an inverse.
So you would rather us have this?
I just want you in general to realize that if you were solving for an inverse and you end up with a plus or minus, that means the original wasn't invertible. Is that kind of cool? Number 98, I don't know what you're doing. Retesting?
We flipped it.
Did 98 fail? For some reason 98 failed. Because the inverse function didn't. I'm ready for questions, sorry. I don't know exactly what the question was on 98, so I'm not sure how to answer that one.
What about 101?
101's odd. Do you want us to look at it?
Yes.
Okay. Anything else besides 101? Okay. Jaden, for you, because you're gone today, or for anyone who didn't have the homework ready today, remember this is all being recorded. You can come back and access it when you're ready to grade. Hold on, I'm in the wrong section. Hey guys, can you get your composition books up and ready, even though we're not quite going there yet? I have a meme for you guys today. Just wait. It's a good one.
It's going to be Pepe Watch.
No, it's actually applicable.
What does applicable mean?
Able to be applied to what we're doing.
Oh. That's not going to be funny.
Well, I bet you'll at least do yeah, I bet you'll do what that is. So you're not going to like fall on the ground laughing, but you are going to at least go and go. Go team. When you're out there just cooking burgers, just brainstorm ideas. That's so funny. They're missing their test today for the barbecue. Ruth, what time do we get out? Now. Okay. So lucky, just wait until you're a senior, then you get to enjoy the perks too. Well, and apply for colleges and be... Never mind. We're not going to depress you today. Here we go. What's going on number 101? Now, first of all, number 101 says think about it. So some of you automatically were like,
Yeah. That's my reaction.
But look, it's so short. It's not even a paragraph. Just wait until section 10. Anyway, so.
Wait, what?
The function f of x equals. Don't worry. I make scary things less scary. K times 2 minus x minus x cubed has an inverse function. Find k. Ooh. Oh, I just dropped my bocce pen. It's okay. I'm not scared. Oh, scavenger.
Oh, I figured it out.
Hey, come back. True, it's good food too. I really just want to give it to you, but then I feel kind of bad because some of you guys figured it out, and I think that you deserve some credit. Who had a way of expressing the inverse function?
What does express mean?
Yeah, Emily.
Like, what, like, you mean what the function is?
Yeah.
I forgot. I didn't write what the inverse function is. I just wrote the gradient.
Oh, that's interesting. That's another take.
Yeah, that's what.
That's what Slater said.
Yeah, that's what Slater
Brian
said. Oh.
You know why I'm kind of proud of you right now?
Because I looked at calc chat?
Because you used your resources, but you still asked me the question. Which means you looked at the work and you were like, and some of you didn't look at the work. But I appreciate you actually naming it and being like, oh yeah, I thought of that. They thought of it, and then you were like, oh. Why did they switch?
Because it's in the switch.
Yeah. Because the inverse is x becomes the y of the original, and the inverse is y becomes the x of the original. You know what else you could have done? Did anybody else go with an equation instead of a point?
I tried, but it didn't work.
That's the point though, Emily. It did work. You just didn't know what to do with it.
That's true.
Because technically, this is an equation, even if the y is not by itself.
I didn't want to deal with the y and the y.
I know. Because Emily's like, I have to get y by itself. Now question, did she actually have to get y by itself? Did it say to find the inverse function? No. It just said it had one. So technically, here's something cool in calculus at least. Sometimes we just leave it written like this and we don't even get y by itself. And sometimes it's not even possible to get y by itself. We call those implicitly defined functions. Like, it's a function, it's there, but we didn't get y by itself. It's implicitly there. Explicit is like super obvious, exposed, it's right there. Implicit, it's more hidden. It's there, it's just more hidden. Focus. You could have done two things. You could have plugged into this one the inverse point of 3, negative 2. The x of the inverse is 3 and the y of the inverse is negative 2. Or you could have plugged into this one the point negative 2, 3. Either way, you had to take a point and you had to plug in. The tricky thing is they gave you the original and an inverse point. So either you had to flip the inverse point to plug into the original, or you had to flip the original to plug in the inverse point. But either way you do it, the math is going to work out well, because this one, the 3 goes there. I end up with k times 2 minus negative 2, minus negative 2 cubed, which would be plus. That's not a negative. There you go. If you had done it this way, you would have plugged in the x there. So actually, the math ends up the exact same place. The question was just which route you took. So 2 plus 2 is 4, 4 plus 8 is 12. 3 divided by 12 is 1/4. Whichever way. Ironic thing, it was just plugging in a point. The weird thing is you had to either switch the equation to plug in that one or switch the point to plug in.
Wouldn't negative 2 cubed be negative?
And it was minus.
Oh.
Anything else?
Did you know Metallica saves lives? I'm not even joking.
How?
It was on Fox News. Like, this one got attacked by a mountain lion, and he started playing the Metallica song, and it ran away. I'm not even joking. It was on Fox.
I believe you. I think it's funny though. Wow.
It was on Fox News. I don't know, like, it's pretty big.
That is pretty big. Kind of funny, I won't lie.
I love Fox.
Oh, I am so sorry. I didn't double check. Any other questions on homework? My bad. We're good? And if we're not, we're going to talk to me? Okay. Here we go. Section 110. What's the meme? Oh my. Your sign? Just because I'm giving you a meme? It's not that lame. Ready, set, go. It's not. It's just done.
I see a mad girl.
Purple.
I already heard one little. Look at that smile. Exactly. Oh, come on. That's what most of you guys find funny these days.
I found the boys at 2 a.m. looking at Caitlin. And the boys at 2 a.m. looking for beans. I'm gonna head out.
I'm gonna head out. Alright, learn apple.
I'm gonna head out. Where's my eraser go?
You really gonna head out? No, leather apples is weird. I tried to buy an apple orchard. You like go and you get a whole like bushel.
I'm gonna head out.
You buy all these. There's so many memes to that though. It's actually We all do, or we all think Alec does?
Both.
If you think about it, mental health really just means help for our minds. Who doesn't want help for their minds like every single day? I want it. Now mental health has a different connotation. I fully support. I fully support both.
Wait, you said our the meme thing
Has a point. I wasn't doing a play on words though. I literally just meant there is a reason why I put it before section 110.
So does that mean when we're talking about purple aliens not wearing hats?
I wish.
So
Thank you, Megan. What did Megan say? Emily said there's a point. So we're talking about purple aliens and hats, and Megan said,
Area 51.
does that mean we're going to be confused in section 1.10?
Oh.
The answer to that one is a no, and the answer to that one is a maybe.
So is it word problems?
It's word problems.
Oh my god.
I don't have an upgrade, so
I am out.
I don't have enough anything to do that.
Yeah, you do, because I've kind of been building you up to this section the entire year. With your calculator worksheets, with your summarizing of directions and problems in your homework.
But I have always been anti-word problems.
What?
Since
I'm
like
gonna write.
first grade when we got our first one.
I was
started
skip 'em.
giving us word problems. I used to
I just put a question mark every time.
My teacher would give us 2, and he'd make us draw the bar graphs and all that, and
I must be the only one who likes it.
Here's the funny thing. Do you guys think that you are really that unique or different from other classes in all of the things you just shared? No, not at all. Is that what everybody says every year?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
You split regression.
So I'm not stressed. I'm not worried.
I am.
For you or for me.
What's that problem?
Because
You should get a tutor.
I cover this section in a way that I try to break it down.
I'm gonna get a tutor for a while.
If I get through, does that count as tutoring hours?
If you get through. If I'm breathing at the end. No.
If you're breathing at the
I don't know. Who said if I get through? I don't understand.
If I get tutored, does that count as my tutoring hours?
If he gets tutored, if
Oh,
I
tutored.
Oh, is that
Sorry.
tutored?
Got it. That's what I thought. I was like, I don't get it.
Um,
If it's a topic. Oh, actually, this is a good question. This came up another time, and I just haven't answered the email yet. Can you get tutored for your tutoring hours? Pause on the green sheet. What it specifically says in some way, shape, or form, I'm not quoting it literally right now, is if there is a topic or like a chapter that you are especially struggling on, whether or not you have gotten the bad grade yet. I mean, one example is you're doing test corrections and your test was low and you're like, okay, I need help. Like, that's valid. But you could very possibly, before the test, realize that it's a topic that's a struggle for you. Then getting tutoring is valid, and it should, and it does, and especially in my calculus classes, because everyone comes up against something that is tricky for them. It can count for tutoring hours if you get help from someone else. Now, careful. Does that mean, and I think there's actually something on the green sheet that gives you some sort of restriction to that, does that mean I want all 4 hours to be you getting help from someone else?
Isn't it more than 4 hours? No, it's only 4.
It's only 4. It's 8 blanks, but they're half-hour increments. Yeah, you guys are all helping out. I don't want all your tutoring to be you getting help because I actually want you practicing explaining math to someone else. But it doesn't have to be pre-cal. It can be because it's going to be fresh on your minds, and you guys will be eventually about a chapter ahead of regular pre-cal, to where you can be helping them on the previous chapter. Using your homework, which is very similar to their homework. Your assessments and your tests and some of your worksheets are different, but the homeworks are pretty similar, and the ideas are pretty similar. If anything, you're learning more than them, not necessarily they won't be learning things that you don't see. But you could also be tutoring Math 6 or Math 7 or Algebra 1, which would be awesome because some of you need to review factoring or polynomials or exponents because those get tricky, or other things, common denominators. I don't know, foiling. Some of you need to review negatives and positives and adding and subtracting. Like, it's just a thing. Like, we make mistakes, and so sometimes going back and explaining to someone, and it reminds you. Like, for instance, did I tell you guys? I don't remember. I think I told my calculus kids. Like, my Algebra 1B kids had a test today. And so I had multiple people in here tutoring Algebra 1B kids, and what I was saying when I explained it to, I think, my BC class, I'm like, hey, you can tutor here. Some of those kids in BC didn't do so great in AB, and so they're already kind of like, okay, I'm taking BC because it's easier. Once you've seen it once, it's easier the second time. But also that like their mathematical confidence has kind of been shot down. And for some of you, maybe you felt that in Algebra 2 last year. Like, I used to be good at math.
No.
Maybe in geometry. Maybe this class will be that for you. I used to be good in math. I want to remind you, you're still good in math. It's just math changes as you get into higher levels of it, depending on where you are. So sometimes even just tutoring something lower, it's reminding you, you're still good at math. Don't give up on yourself. It's just, it's gotten harder, and you need to kind of grow into this new, oh, if something's a struggle, what do I do? Do I give up? Or do I look, ask, reach out for, self-advocate for the help that I need in order to grow and to be able to face these new challenges? Hey, life lesson. Anyway, so, long story short, section 1.10. I don't know what I said. Eventually. There are different places where we like make up some time, or there are other places where I add in things, and so in a sense it kind of slows you down from them, but you learn more along the way. So it just kind of ends up to us being about a chapter ahead of them. Yeah.
But we don't like slow down.
Not purposely. No. We just go for it. If there was time and you guys are just busting it out, like we'll get 1, 2, 3 chapters into calculus. I don't care. We'll just keep going for it. But usually it's only one chapter that we get done. Okay, you see math with words, with tables, with graphs, and with equations. True? Okay, before we get into all of the stuff that's about to come, there's this. Oh, that's where that marker was. Didn't we do this in our graphing calculator handbook? Right? Regressions and all that jazz. And we didn't even just do lines. We did like quadratic and cubic and all sorts of stuff. So all of this stuff, guys, put big parentheses around it. I don't want you to memorize anything. But some of you guys were asking about the R that would show up on your calculator. Some calculators it shows up and some calculators it doesn't. Basically, whenever you do a regression, it says, take all the data and give me the best equation that seems to pass through the data. It's not going to like connect it all, or else it would be a constellation or something weird. Instead, it just kind of shows the trend. And that's super practical in life because it's like, hey, in some sort of field, you could measure or find or identify all kinds of data, put it all together, and then be able to basically throw it in and see, is there a trend? And if there's a trend for this data, maybe I can make a prediction about where it's going to go, where it would head, where it would lead. Maybe weather forecasting. Anyway.
Stonks.
Maybe stocks. Yeah, financial advisors. Maybe there's all kinds of places, right? Spreads of viruses or diseases, and how to oil spills in the ocean. Like there's all kinds of pollution. Climate change. Anyway. Carbon-14 dating. Anyway, so many different fields and so many different things with economics and with science and biology and I don't know, environmental science and all sorts of stuff. Coming back. Even mental health. What's the correlation between technology? And it's hard. It's rough. It is rough out there. It is rough for you guys as far as 24/7 you could be consumed by or attacked by other people and they're not even there physically facing you. It's all on your phone. Like, oh my goodness. In some ways, if we could just throw all the phones in the ocean, it would be so horrible, but it would be so amazing for all of our well-beings. But coming back, statistics are something that is used in, and that's why it's required for so many different majors. It's used in psychology, it's used in biology, it's used in chemistry, it's used in physics, it's used in, and it all comes back to this stuff. Give me scenarios. Can you mathematically model it, and can we predict where it's going, and can we try to change that trend or use that trend, hopefully for good, but some people use it for bad. Advertising? Oh my gosh. Anyway, moving on. So, the nice... Read. The nice thing is, could you be given something, the nice thing, why am I saying the nice thing? Could you be given something like this in homework?
Yeah.
Now pause. Don't even write it, because what does it look like?
A chart.
Calculator worksheet number 2.
Oh yeah.
Oh, we've done this. We've already talked through this stuff. Like, we don't need to, like, rehash it all. If you have questions on homework, we'll talk about it, but have we put stuff into lists?
Yeah.
Yes. Have we done regressions?
Yeah.
Yes. Have we made a scatter plot?
No.
Yes. Yes. Have we? Ew. What's the least squares regression? Oh, regression line. Linear regression. Have we done that? Okay. So some things might look a little different, but we're doing calculated worksheet number 2. Huh. Let's move beyond that then. You know how to do that. But what else are you going to see? Okay. Keep reading. What I'm doing over the next 1, 2, 3, I think 3 to 4 pages is I'm saying, okay, when you see the following, which to some extent is already making the word problems nicer, because there are certain words that you can look out for. There's going to be direct variation, indirect variation, joint variation, and combined variation. 4 different ways that one quantity varies in relationship to another quantity. And those words, or these wordings, are the key to knowing the model to make. Wait, what was the title of the section 110?
Mathematical laws and variation.
Okay, so not like really hot mathematicians, but instead we're trying to make a model, an equation for a situation. You're welcome. We're trying to make an equation for a situation. So when I talk about math models, when I talk about my math models, I should find that textbook. My math models class in college I would take. Guess what? It was a textbook just about this big. It was a little baby one. Didn't even cost that much compared to all my other books in college. And you opened it, and it was just word problems. No sections, no notes, no examples. Just word problems. And it was like, use anything you've ever learned in math to figure out how to solve it. And we were like, it's awful. Well, in some ways it was great because you had your, in college you find your team. And your team is who you do your work with, and you go to office hours with, and you ask your professor questions. Yep, you're welcome. When you talk a lot, sometimes stuff comes out weird. Alex! Direct variation. You guys see the model? It's right there. Whenever you see K for this entire section, you just have to think some constant. Some constant. Area of a circle is directly related to the square of the radius. Area of a circle is directly related to the square of the radius. What's the area of a circle formula?
Pi r squared.
Yeah. So what am I saying? Is area y directly related to some constant times the square of the radius? Yeah.
Yes.
Now, any constant in the whole wide world? No, there's a formula, and it's pi. That is the special constant in this situation that needs to be plugged in. So when I say one quantity is directly related to another quantity, it just means, okay, it's off by a constant with multiplication. Somehow it's off by a constant with multiplication. K, you're going to see it once again for like the rest of the section. He's just called the constant of proportionality, constant of variation. K is some constant. But the wording that you guys will see varies directly proportional to, directly varying, I don't know. It could come other ways. But whenever you see, well, if you guys notice, I'm not giving you huge paragraphs right now. I'm literally giving you a sentence and saying, hey, let's make a mathematical statement and if possible, a mathematical equation to model it. Cool? And you know what's really cool? As we practice this, if you get to a problem that has a paragraph of information in homework, do you have to write the paragraph? You can write the model that holds all the information. So like in this one. Could I say y equals kx? I suppose. But couldn't it maybe make a little bit more sense to say something like I equals, oh, I wanted a red, sorry. K times P. Ooh, do you guys know what those letters stand for? It's a thing. It's a
Pitching
thing.
control.
Nope. I stands for? That one's easy. Interest.
Stonks.
Do you know what P stands for?
Principal.
Principal.
Principal frame.
Principality.
Okay. similar, but you know that principal spelled like that isn't just Mr. Friend or Mr. Halliday.
It's also Dr. Lozano.
It can also be an initial or a main amount. A main person, a main amount.
Small brain.
It's not principal as in I live, I have my principles, not like that. A principal as in the principal value, the principal amount, the beginning, the initial, the top.
What's K?
That's a great question. You're gonna have to answer that. What is K?
A variable.
Some
constant.
constant.
A constant.
Variation.
Oh.
Or the no, it's a variable, but it's a variable representative of a constant. So we're just gonna call him a constant.
Okay.
How could we find K? Well, if they gave me something specific, I would plug in and find him. Guess what they're gonna do in homework? Sometimes keep it general, and sometimes give you some more information for you to make it specific. But always start with the general translation. Now, why did I put the I and the P? Because I wanted to know, oh, hey, that's how much money, how much interest you're getting, and that's how much money you put in. Now, could you have also done something like y equals k times a, or I equals k times a? A is for amount, and I is for interest. Yeah. You get to make up your variables to some extent, unless they tell you what they must be. So how about the next dude?
Bruh.
The distance S. Oh, I gotta use S for distance. Awkward, but okay. An object falls varies directly as the square of the duration t of the fall. How would you guys make that into a mathematical model?
S equals KT.
You guys agree?
C.
Distance S varies directly. K times the square. Ooh. Maybe some of you do need to write some words just to make sure you get it right. The square of the duration t. You see it?
Oh my gosh.
The square of the duration t. T squared. T squared. But I said there were 4 of them, right? This is direct. Let's go figure out what inverse is, or indirect. What do we actually call it? I forget. Inverse. You guys are setting it up. If the wording is too small, use the direct, but change the direct to inverse. Varies inversely. Inversely proportional to y equals k over x. K over x. A real quick hint of direct proportionality or direct variation as y. I shouldn't put it like that. As x goes up, y goes up. And as x goes down, y goes down. As x goes up, y goes up. As x goes down, y goes down. In general, I would assume, which is dangerous, I know, but in general, I would assume as the temperature goes up outside, the demand for iced drinks goes up, right? As the temperature goes down, I assume the demand for iced drinks go down. Sodas, iced coffees, whatever, smoothies, strong blenders. As temperature goes up, the demand goes up. As temperature goes down, the demand goes down. But if I was talking about hot drinks, as the temperature goes up,
Hot drinks go down.
yeah, I would assume so, right? Now there are some people, my mom always loves hot coffee, never iced, every now and then. Part of it's psychological. She's like, I drink the iced ones too fast and then it's gone. But anyway, she just loves holding her hot coffee even when it's like 90 degrees outside. But normal people, as temperature goes up, demand for hot drinks probably go down. That's what an inverse relationship would be. As one quantity goes up, the others goes down. Does anybody know why? Because you might not have noticed. I started to write as y goes up, and I was going to write x goes up, but then I changed it. Do you know why x needs to go first?
Because it always goes first.
Yeah?
But why?
He's the input, he's the independent, he's the guy who we're basing things off of. Does that make sense? So in my scenario, we were basing our decision or our trend making, or even our decision making on temperature outside going up and going down. So as that occurs, okay, what's the effect? So when you guys are looking at this one, demand for a product varies inversely as the price of the product. Well, I guess I can zoom in now in case someone can't read it, sorry. Oh, that did not help in any way, shape, or form. Okay. Demand for a Could we use y's and x's? Sure. What might be more exciting then?
Something not exciting,
We're gonna use k. I'm gonna use d for demand just because I'm basic like that. Equals k over who? I was gonna use p for price. But yes, you can use y equals k over x and then just be like, well, y is demand. If you want to do that, that's totally fine. I'll say p is demand. You could say x is price, and that would be totally fine. I'm just gonna say p is price. Why? Because I'm getting you ready for things like geometric formulas where you have lengths and widths and bases and heights and y's and x's are not the thing. They are. But they're not labeled that way. But anyway, direct variation, k times. Inverse variation, k over. Ready for another one? We need two more. Oh, so this is the last place on earth you want to be. Well, I'm glad you're here. Hang it. Combined variation. Whoa. Oh, there's no formula.
Mr. Chase.
Say what? There's no formula?
What?
Guess who got it from?
Transmitting.
Well, it's kind of
It's
like
just
Maggie Corey,
fake.
but that's okay. Maggie and I went on a lot of mission trips. We would always have accents.
Mission trips?
Mm-hmm.
Is that?
I don't know why, but whenever you go on a mission trip, you play a lot of accents. It's probably because of Maggie Corey.
Oh, I don't know, Mr. Chase. I get an accent.
No, we didn't get an accent. We played with accents. We were speaking British in the DR. It doesn't make sense. And in Guatemala.
I thought you said you get an accent when you go to other countries.
Sisters came back and that's all they
Yeah. In Guatemala last time, we were having quite a bit of fun. Dr. Justin Liu and Hannah Zendaya. Or James Calvin. James Calvin would do an accent. That was so much fun. He would only do it on really rare occasions.
James is my dad.
But the cool thing is that Mr. Che picked it up. He was only in British, but that's alright.
That was the first time Cassie roasted me.
Cassie, what did you say?
The Calvin family is quite quick-witted. It's fun.
What did Cassie say?
I don't know, I missed it. But whatever it was, Alex felt it. Alright, coming back.
I got burned.
Resistance of a copper wire.
Your arm must have been by Cassie.
Resistance of a copper wire carrying electrical current is directly proportional to its length and inversely proportional. Ah! They have both!
Oh my goodness.
That's what it says, isn't it? Combination of direct and inverse variation. So here's the dealio. We have to figure out what's important and what's not. Hey! What do I have you do every time you summarize your homework?
Oh my
Figure out what's important and what's not. What the short, sweet version is, right? What the most important information is. So what are you being given? Well, I have the resistance of, okay, if we were in electrical engineering, yes, we would say I have a copper wire carrying an electrical current. That's great. But isn't it all descriptive, prepositional phrases, etc., referring back to the resistance? I used to love grammar. So much fun. Diagramming sentences. I did it until I was in 12th grade. My school was weird. But we had fun. Resistance! All the rest are just qualifiers. Resistance! Where's the verb? Is. Is what? Directly proportional to what? Length. There's another variable, right? And inversely proportional to its cross-sectional area. Do you guys see why I boxed resistance, length, and area? Because those are my nouns. Everything else is just like adjectives or prepositional phrases or... Yeah, I just thought before I mess up. So, what do? Does it make sense that if I name resistance as R, L as length, and A as area, R equals K times L over A? Wait, check it.
I don't like this.
But check it. Isn't there a direct relationship with length and an inverse relationship with area? It's a puzzle. It's a pattern. You're just trying to figure out how it's supposed to go. It's a puzzle. It's a pattern. You're just trying to figure out how it's supposed to go. And there's one last one. Joint variation. Direct and inverse, like the big two, combined says, I don't know, kept a little And joint says, well, you can actually have
There's so much.
both the same way. I haven't even gotten to the paragraphs yet. I mean, we have. So far, that's a sentence. That's a sentence.
Brain cell.
That, calm down. But for once, you have a homework where you can't just find a paragraph and skip it, or else you're not going to do the homework. Some of you that skip all the word problems. This is the homework that you can't just say, word problem, I'll stop, because then you won't start. Anyway.
God save me.
Varies jointly. Jointly proportional. Stop. Not that bad. Jointly proportional to. Do you guys see the equation? Z equals K times XY. XY. It's like, it's proportional, directly proportional to X and Y at the same time. Oh, it's jointly. Join. A joint is something that joins, right? Your elbow is a joint. True? Your knee is a joint? Oh. Joint, something that joins. Jointly. Something that you hold together. Like a husband and wife might jointly hold on to a piece of property or a bank account. Doing it together. So, when it says kinetic energy, oh look, E. They even tell me what E is. Varies jointly, I'm going to put that in parentheses, okay, good, with the object's mass and the, ooh, why am I boxing this whole thing? What am I afraid of you missing?
Square.
Does it make sense that this would turn into E equals K times mv squared?
I'm still shook by casting my CV.
You gotta get over it. Appreciate it, and then move on. I feel like it was just a clever comment and you're blowing it up out of proportion.
It was just funny. It was funny.
Exactly. See? Clever comment. Do you see it?
No.
Okay, because it says varies jointly, so K times, and K times what? K times both M and the square of V. V squared.
Oh, square.
Because the formula.
Oh, thank you. There's so many words.
Yeah.
I thought this was supposed to be numbers.
But what is the joy about what we get to do?
Nothing.
Finish it.
Okay, if I were to give you like a poem or a short story, or even worse, a huge book, now not even worse because I actually do like reading when I have time, but, and I said to summarize it, or I said to tell me and explain to me the entire meaning of it, wouldn't it take lots of words to do?
Yeah.
No.
But what am I doing in math? I'm giving you a paragraph and saying, hey, let's make a short, sweet equation out of it. Come on, my job's more fun.
See, but it's like if you go to English and you start reading a book, you're like zeros and ones.
Exactly.
I understand. Okay. So what's going on if they give me something with actual like stuff in it? What do you mean actual stuff? Well, that's stuff, but actual clues, actual amounts. Pause. Yeah, I know. Don't worry. Homework's not due till Tuesday. What did I write? Oh, I said some. I didn't erase it. Sorry. Due Tuesday.
Yeah, Brad.
Wait a minute. On Saturday, turn it in by 8 a.m. Just kidding. Don't do that. Pause. If you turn this into an equation, do I just get to plug and chug and? Alec, what was your question? What's K? If you know that, you can find him.
Bye-bye.
I'm ready to fail.
I don't need to. I'm so confused on
Well, nothing like going in with optimism. Happy weekend. Come find me if you need anything. Yes, I love it. I'm going to cancel school.